What happens when no one is watching? When the crowd disappears, the spotlight fades, and all the noise quiets down. What do? This is the moment that truly defines you, because it's easy to shine when everyone's eyes are on you. It's easy to act like the person you want others to see when you know you'll be applauded, praised, or rewarded. But what about when the world isn't looking? When the only audience is the silence around you, and the only witness is the person staring back in the mirror. In those moments, your true character is exposed. The mask falls away. The excuses stop making sense. There's no stage, no applause, no social media likes. It's just you alone with your choices, your discipline, your integrity. The question is, who are you then? Because the person you are when no one is watching is the person who builds the foundation of your success, your reputation, and your legacy. Most people forget this. They act right when the crowd is watching and fall apart when it's just them and their own willpower. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the work done in silence, the sweat, the sacrifices, the decisions made without validation or recognition. This is where the real battle is fought. This is where greatness is born. So if you want to know what will determine your future, not the moments of glory, but the long, quiet hours, pay close attention. Because the truth is, your life is shaped not by what you do in public, but by what you do when no one is watching. True character is not something that shines in the spotlight. It doesn't reveal itself during moments of applause or when the world is watching. Instead, character shows up in the quiet, unobserved spaces, the moments when no one is paying attention and you're left alone with yourself. This is where your true self is tested, shaped, and revealed. When you strip away all the external validation, the likes, the compliments, the nods of approval, what remains is the essence of who you really are. It's easy to wear a mask in public, to act in a way that earns praise or fits expectations, but when you are alone, away from the gaze of others, your decisions reflect your authentic values and beliefs. It's in these moments that integrity either stands tall or crumbles. Character in solitude means doing the right thing, even when no one will know. It's choosing honesty over convenience, kindness over indifference, discipline over temptation. It's waking up early to work toward your goals, even when there's no one to see your effort. It's showing up consistently, not for the applause, but because you respect yourself enough to honor your commitments. Most people fail to realize that their true reputation is built on these invisible moments. It's not the flashy successes or public achievements that define you. It's the repeated choices you make when you think no one is watching. These choices accumulate into habits, and those habits forge the person you become. Your legacy is crafted quietly, day by day, decision by decision, away from the spotlight. This is also why so many struggle to maintain success or live authentically. When the crowd isn't there, the motivation to perform can fade. Without external pressure or recognition, it becomes a challenge to keep pushing forward. But those who develop true character understand that relying on external validation is a trap. Real strength is self-sustained. It doesn't depend on others' approval to keep going. In solitude, your weaknesses are exposed. You face your fears, doubts, and insecurities head-on because there's no one else to distract you or take the blame. The excuses that might have covered up your shortcomings in public don't work when you're alone. It's in these moments that you decide whether to confront your limitations or let them control you. Building true character requires courage. It requires a commitment to self-awareness and growth. It means acknowledging your flaws without hiding from them, taking responsibility for your actions, and choosing to do better even when it's uncomfortable. It means being honest with yourself about who you are and who you want to become. The power of solitude is that it gives you the space to reflect deeply. It allows you to reconnect with your values and priorities without external noise. It's where you develop resilience, discipline, and mental toughness. When you practice showing up for yourself in these quiet moments, you build an unshakable foundation for success that no external circumstance can destroy. Remember, the person you are when no one is watching is the person who will ultimately carry you through life's challenges. When adversity strikes and the world turns its back, that inner character is what sustains you. It's what keeps you honest, focused, and determined. It's what earns you respect, not just from others, but from yourself. So don't underestimate the importance of your unseen moments. Don't neglect the time you spend alone with your thoughts and choices. These are the moments where you cultivate the strength, integrity, and authenticity that define a life well lived. In the end, true character is not built in public, but in solitude. It is forged in the silent battles you fight every day against temptation, doubt, and fear. It is the unwavering commitment to be your best self when no one is watching. That is the mark of a person who will not only succeed, but endure. Success isn't built on occasional brilliance. It's not the result of flashy performances, viral moments, or grand public displays. Those things may capture attention, but they don't create longevity. What actually builds success is far less glamorous. It's consistency, quiet, disciplined, deliberate consistency. The kind that no one sees, the kind that doesn't beg for praise, the kind that's repeated in the dark day after day, long before the results ever show up. The problem is, we live in a world addicted to performance. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants credit, validation, applause. We celebrate highlight reels, not daily habits. But success doesn't care about showmanship. It cares about what you do when it's boring. It cares about whether you show up when it's hard. It cares about what choices you make when the world isn't watching and when motivation is nowhere to be found. Consistency is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's getting up early when the bed feels warm. It's showing up to train when you're tired. It's writing, building, working, growing without an audience, without attention, and without instant reward. It's repetition without recognition. And that's where most people fall off. They mistake the need for consistency with a lack of excitement. They think if it's not thrilling, it's not valuable. But the truth is, mastery is born in repetition. Excellence is not a single act. It's a habit. Every skill, every breakthrough, every ounce of greatness comes from choosing discipline over distraction, consistency over chaos. Think about anything meaningful in your life, your health, your relationships, your purpose. None of it thrives from one-time effort. You don't become fit from one workout. You don't build trust with one kind word. You don't reach your potential with one great decision. It's the compounding effect of consistency that builds something real. And the longer you stay in the game, the more unstoppable you become. What's dangerous is when people start performing instead of progressing. They do things just to be seen. They post for attention, talk for approval, work for applause. But here's what they don't realize. Showmanship is temporary. It fades. It doesn't last. But consistency, that builds a reputation that no one can take from you. It earns respect that goes deeper than noise. It carves out success that doesn't depend on anyone else's recognition. You want to win? Then fall in love with the process. Get addicted to showing up. Create systems, routines, and habits that support who you want to become. Make consistency your identity, because when your actions align with your goals every single day, you don't need to shout about it. The results will speak for you, loudly, powerfully. This is not about never missing a step or being perfect every day. It's about showing up more often than not. It's about not letting failure be the end, but instead a small stumble on a long journey of forward movement. It's about building momentum, one small action at a time, even when no one notices. Especially when no one notices. You will never be motivated every day. That's the truth no one likes to admit. But you don't need motivation, you need consistency. Motivation is a mood, consistency is a choice. One comes and goes. The other builds legacy. And in a world full of people chasing quick wins, the person who masters consistency becomes a force that cannot be ignored. So stop chasing attention. Stop performing for people who don't matter. Build in silence. Show up even when no one claps. Trust the process, even when the results are slow. Because success is never about how loud you are. It's about how committed you are when it's dark, when it's lonely, and when it's hard. Your future will be defined not by how impressive you looked in one moment, but by how relentlessly consistent you were when no one was watching. That's how you build a life. That's how you earn respect. That's how you become unshakable. In the end, consistency will take you places showmanship never could. Self-discipline is not something you're born with. It's not a gift handed down to a lucky few. It's a choice, one you make every single day. It's the silent force that stands between who you are and who you're capable of becoming. It doesn't show up with fireworks or noise. It doesn't demand attention. But when everything else fails, motivation, support, excitement, self-discipline is what keeps you in the fight. People talk a lot about success, confidence, and achievement, but underneath all of it, there's one constant: discipline. It is the quiet commitment to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. It's saying yes to the hard path when the easy one looks so tempting. It's keeping your word to yourself when no one else would even know if you broke it. Discipline is uncomfortable. It requires you to delay gratification, to choose future gain over present comfort. It means waking up early when your bed feels like a safe haven. It means staying focused when distractions are everywhere. It means doing the work when your mind screams for rest, escape, or laziness. But here's the hard truth. Without discipline, you are a prisoner of your own moods. You'll move only when you feel inspired. You'll stop when things get difficult. And you'll keep repeating the same cycle, starting and stopping, dreaming, but never doing. Self-discipline is your greatest ally because it's the only thing you can fully control. You can't control your circumstances. You can't control how others treat you. You can't predict the obstacles that will show up, but you can control your response. You can control your effort. You can control whether or not you show up. And when you learn to lead yourself, nothing can own you. Not your fear, not your past, not your emotions. When you build self-discipline, you start to trust yourself. That's powerful. You stop making excuses. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop depending on external accountability. You become someone who can rely on their own word. And that kind of self-respect, it's rare. It's fierce. It's magnetic. Because when the world sees someone who consistently shows up, who follows through, who doesn't break when it gets hard, they notice. People admire that kind of quiet strength because it's earned. It can't be faked. It can't be performed. It comes from the thousands of unseen decisions you make when no one's clapping and no one's watching. But here's what you need to understand. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. It's not about being robotic or pushing yourself until you burn out. It's about choosing what matters most over what feels good in the moment. It's about making decisions that support your future self. You can rest, you can take care of yourself, but you don't let comfort be your compass. You let purpose lead the way. Every time you choose discipline, you strengthen it. It's like a muscle. The more you train it, the more reliable it becomes. You don't wake up one day and have it all figured out. You build it by doing the hard thing today, and then doing it again tomorrow, and again the next day. Not because someone is forcing you to, but because you decided that the life you want is worth it. Self-discipline will separate you. It will elevate you. It will protect you from the chaos of distraction, the pain of regret, and the poison of inconsistency. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's undefeated. So if you want to change your life, start there. Build the discipline to control your actions, your focus, your habits. Don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect mood. Decide who you want to be and start acting like that person now. Not just when it's easy, especially when it's not. Because when everything else fades, when the applause stops, when the motivation dies, when the world goes quiet, self-discipline is what remains. It is the quiet promise you make to yourself and the loudest proof of your strength. And when you look back, you won't be proud of the moments when everything was easy. You'll be proud of the moments you chose discipline, when everything in you wanted to quit. That's where your power lives. That's what makes you unbreakable. Everyone wants the spotlight. They want the awards, the praise, the recognition. But what most people don't realize is that the spotlight doesn't come from the performance. It comes from the preparation. The truth is, the work that's done behind the scenes, the unseen hours, the sacrifices no one ever claps for, that's what truly separates those who rise from those who stay stuck. Public success may be loud, but it's the hidden work that builds it. And without that hidden work, the spotlight burns out fast. We live in a world obsessed with results. People look at the finished product, the polished version, the achievement, and assume it happened overnight. But success is never an event. It's a process. It's layers of failure, repetition, discomfort, and discipline. What people call talent is often just years of unseen effort. What they call luck is usually persistence that finally paid off. It's easy to perform when the lights are on. It's easy to look sharp when everyone's watching. But the real test happens in silence. It happens in the early mornings, when your alarm goes off and your body begs for sleep. It happens in the late nights when you're grinding while others have given up and gone to bed. It happens in the daily commitment to get better, even if no one sees your effort, even if no one applauds your growth. The problem is we're conditioned to crave visibility. We want instant validation. We want people to know how hard we're working. But that desire for attention can become a trap. It can make us work more for applause than for purpose. And the danger in that is simple. When the applause stops, so does the effort. But those who understand the truth, the ones who truly win, know that the hidden work is the win. That's where the breakthroughs are born. That's where mental toughness is built. That's where your future self is being carved. Every moment you spend refining your craft, working on yourself, facing your weaknesses, and getting back up after failure. It all adds up, and it always shows up later, in ways that make others wonder how you did it. You see, the spotlight doesn't reveal your greatness. It exposes it. It reveals what you've already done in silence. It exposes your preparation or your lack of it. You can't fake mastery. You can't shortcut work ethic. Eventually, the truth catches up, and only those who've put in the reps, who've stayed consistent in the dark, will be ready when the moment comes. Think about the athlete who wins the game with one shot. The crowd goes wild, the highlight goes viral. But what no one sees is the thousands of shots they took in an empty gym. The mornings they showed up sore, the nights they pushed through doubt. That's the part people miss. The hidden, thankless grind. And yet, that's the part that matters most. The same goes for any craft, any goal, any life worth living. You want a strong mind? That doesn't come from motivational videos. It comes from facing fear, failure, and fatigue when no one's clapping. You want to lead? That doesn't come from titles. It comes from making tough choices, staying grounded, and putting in the work day after day when there's no recognition in sight. The world will eventually see your success, but only you will ever know the full weight of what it took to get there. The skipped parties, the silent tears, the lonely nights, the sacrifices, the self-doubt you had to silence. That's your private victory. That's the part no one can take from you. So don't get distracted by visibility. Don't wait for credit before you give your best. Don't let the absence of applause trick you into thinking the effort isn't worth it. Because what you do in the dark will eventually shine in the light, but only if you keep going. Let others chase likes, followers, and noise. You chase mastery. You chase purpose. You chase the standard you set for yourself. One that doesn't waver based on who's watching. That's how you outlast. That's how you dominate. That's how you create real success that doesn't just show up. It stays. In the end, public success is just the tip of the iceberg. The real story, the real glory, is everything beneath the surface. It's the hidden work. And if you stay committed to it, the results will always speak for themselves. Loudly, unapologetically, undeniably. You will never become who you're meant to be if you're constantly looking over your shoulder, wondering what other people think of you, waiting for someone to validate your effort, approve your dreams, or confirm your worth is a trap, because the truth is, no one sees the full picture. No one knows how hard you've worked, how many times you've gotten back up, or how many inner battles you've fought just to stand where you are. That's why you must be your own witness, your own judge, your own standard. It's tempting to seek approval. It feels good when people clap for you, when they acknowledge your progress, when they see your effort. But what happens when they don't? What happens when your work goes unnoticed? When your growth is quiet, when the room stays silent after you give your best? If your sense of worth is tied to external feedback, you'll break every time it disappears. You'll start chasing applause instead of purpose. You'll build your identity on shifting ground. But when you become your own witness, that changes. You stop performing and start living. You begin to measure yourself not against others, but against your own standards. You know when you've given your all, even if no one else says a word. You know when you've held back, even if others are impressed. And that kind of self-awareness is power. That kind of honesty builds trust with yourself. Trust that you'll do the work, that you'll show up, that you'll stay consistent, whether anyone is watching or not. Being your own judge doesn't mean being harsh. It means being real. It means calling yourself out when you know you're making excuses. It means recognizing when you've let fear win. But it also means giving yourself credit when it's due. Celebrating the small victories. Honoring the discipline, the growth, the progress, even if it's not dramatic or visible to the world. Because here's the truth, most of your growth will be invisible. The most important changes won't come with a trophy or a round of applause. They'll come quietly, on the days you wanted to quit, but didn't. On the mornings you got up anyway. On the nights you kept going long after your motivation ran out. No one else may ever know what it took, but you will. And that's enough. You have to develop the ability to see yourself clearly, to look in the mirror and say, I did what I said I would do, or I can do better, and I will. That's how real transformation happens. That's how self-respect is built. Not from how others treat you, but from how you treat yourself when no one's looking. You're not always going to feel confident. You won't always feel motivated. You'll make mistakes, lose momentum, and question your path. But the person who holds you steady during all of that is you. You're the one who has to choose to keep going. You're the one who has to remind yourself why it matters. You're the one who gets to decide whether this story ends in regret or in triumph. This is about taking radical responsibility. It's about shifting from victim to leader of your own life. No more blaming circumstances. No more waiting for permission. No more outsourcing your self-worth. You don't need anyone to say you're enough. You need to know it. You don't need a standing ovation to keep pushing. You need a reason, a standard, a promise to yourself that you refuse to break. Let the world think what it wants. You don't owe anyone your energy, your explanations, or your validation. What you owe is to the person you were yesterday to be stronger, sharper, more focused today. You owe it to your future self to do the work now so that version of you can live free and powerful. And you owe it to yourself to live a life that's not built on performance, but on purpose. So be your own witness. Be your own judge. Let your discipline be your applause. Let your growth be your proof. Let your consistency be your character. You don't need the world to see what you're doing right now. Just make sure you do. Because the day will come when everything you've built in silence will speak so loudly, the world won't be able to ignore it. And on that day, you won't need anyone else to tell you that you made it. You'll already know. Because you've seen every step. You've felt every fall. You've climbed through every failure. You were there. You witnessed it all. And that makes you the most credible voice in your life. So don't wait for validation. Become it. Don't wait to be seen. See yourself. Don't wait to be judged. Judge yourself with truth, discipline, and compassion. That's how you rise. That's how you win. That's how you become unstoppable. When the noise fades, when the crowd disappears, when no one is watching, you are all that's left. And that's not something to fear. That's your greatest power. Because your discipline, your choices, your standards, and your integrity aren't built in public. They're built in the quiet, in the dark, in the unseen. That's where champions are forged. That's where legacies are born. If you're waiting for someone to push you, recognize you, or rescue you, you'll be waiting forever. The truth is, it's on you. It always has been. And that's the best news you could ever hear. Because it means you don't need permission. You don't need applause. You don't need the spotlight. All you need is the courage to show up, the discipline to stay consistent, and the fire to keep going. Especially when it's hard, especially when no one sees. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. Owning your journey. Becoming someone you respect. Someone you trust. And if you can do that, if you can be relentless when it's lonely, focused when it's quiet, and accountable when it's invisible, then nothing and no one can stop you. The world may not see your hidden work today, but one day it will see the results. And on that day, you won't need to say a word, because everything you did when no one was watching will speak louder than anything you ever could.